Hi everyone, my name is Leanna Biddle, she, her pronouns. I am your career education manager in the Warner College of Natural Resources. Typically what I would do is come to your class and talk about some of these virtual career services that are offered, but I'm going to be doing that virtually, which is pretty cool. And so what I'm hoping to cover today is talking about, again, the services that we offer and what are some of the things that you can be doing now as you prepare for your job of interest in future, whether it be um, gaining experiences, connecting with faculty, connecting with different employers. I want to provide those resources and how you can best do that. And so we're going to do that together. So I did want to mention, of course, we are moving to what could be a virtual format. And so I wanted to offer some different resources that might be helpful as you move forward. And so some of those resources are listed here, one of them being virtual advising appointments. And so I am offering virtual opportunities to connect with me about a multitude of different things, whether it be career exploration, job search strategies, resume cover letter development, truly whatever you need. And you can schedule those via Handshake, which I will review in just a few minutes on how to navigate Handshake and access those different appointments. We also will be hosting virtual career peer drop-in advising. And so those days and times are to be decided as I connect with my career ambassadors. But again, it's a quick time, a 15-minute slot of time to talk to a career ambassador about, again, some of those different topics that I mentioned, but more specifically, resume and cover letter development, especially a quick look if you are applying to a job, internship, or opportunity. I will review the WCNR Career Services website. We are very lucky within our college to have a specific website and one of the few that have so many resources embedded for you all to access on your own time, 24/7, whenever is needed. I also wanted to mention the NRCC newsletter. And so that is a newsletter that is sent out weekly, typically on Fridays, with jobs, internships, it could be scholarships, any opportunities that are sent to me that are outside of Handshake. And so what you can do is as I'm navigating the WCNR Career Services website, I will also show you how you can be added to the NRCC newsletter. There's a ton of different opportunity within it, and also show you what the newsletter looks like so you have a better visual of what I'm talking about. And last but not least, we have a jobs list by undergraduate major. And so if you're wondering what job sites pertain to you as a fish, wildlife, and conservation biology student, I have a list of different job resources and sites that might be helpful as you start to look for different opportunities. All right, so where do we start? So what I'm going to do is navigate an array of different sites that might be helpful as you're looking at, again, maybe exploring careers, how to develop your resume cover letter, wherever you are at within your career journey, if you will. I want to provide some of those different resources. And so we're actually going to navigate together. All right, so we are going to dive in. What you see before you is the Career Center homepage. And so I'm going to show you a few tabs that might be helpful as you, again, think about your career journey and what resources might be most helpful. And so here under Explore Careers, you can explore specific career industry areas, some specific to the Warner College that might be interesting to you, animal and ag, see, law, public safety, and government, international careers if you have an interest in working or studying abroad, sustainability and environment, and tourism and hospitality. I believe recreation is added in there as well. And so again, if you want to look by industry, that's going to be the perfect clicking point for you. In terms of resources, I am going to click on the Resource Center. And so I love the Resource Center because it's a hub of a lot of different resources by different topics, by different career interests, and by different identities that you may connect with, right? You may identify with those different identities. So going through topics, some that I included, job search, let's see, resume, cover letter, resumes down here, salary negotiation, maybe you are wondering how to best negotiate a salary as you move forward, networking, interviewing, again, a lot of different topics that you may connect with. Career interests, very similar to what I had mentioned before in terms of what what interest areas, industry areas might be most pertinent to you. Animal and ag may be the most connected to fish, wildlife, and conservation biology. But again, look through those different interests and see what aligns with those job titles and careers that might interest you moving forward. And again, identities. So if you share any of these similar identities, there might be some resources that might be helpful as you move forward. So all great clicking points as you go through. Another tab that might be helpful is events. And so as we navigate this virtual climate and provide an array of different virtual events, this is where they're going to be stored. And so, as the career education manager, I will do my best to get those events out to you, whether that be by email, whether that be through WCNR Career Services, the website, through the banner at the top. But this is going to be another great site where you can see what events might be available in terms of developing professionally. So, it could be some of the resume pieces, networking, meeting with a career educator in our office. It could be connecting with employers. And so we may have an opportunity like a career fair, which we are scheduling for the fall, which is pretty cool. And so, again, you'll have that time to connect with different employers. And this is where all of those different events and opportunities will be housed. And then let's see, going back to the main home page at the top, as we go down, you'll see jobs right over here in the corner. And if you click it, this is where you can access Handshake. And so search Handshake. Again, Handshake has jobs, internship opportunities. One thing I appreciate about Handshake is that we have a connection with all of the different employers who come through and utilize Handshake through CSU. And so we know that those jobs are valid. We appreciate the employers, especially offering those different opportunities. And so that is going to be a place where you can access Handshake. And as we transition to WCNR Career Services, and so this is the career services site through the Warner College, if you were hoping to make an appointment with me via Handshake, if you go down a bit and click on Meet with Leanna, you'll be taken to a very similar page here in a second. Perfect. Where you will be able to choose the Warner College of Natural Resources, the type of appointment that you would like to have. Let me see if I can click into it. Perfect. So all virtual formats, whether that be Teams, by phone, via Zoom, for career exploration, school prep, personal, so grad school prep, interview prep, mock interview, job search strategies, so any of the above. And if you just want me to simply look at your resume, curriculum vitae, cover letter, feel free to just click job internship search strategies. All right, going back. So a few fun features of WCNR Career Services. So any spotlight jobs and events, again, those different events that are going to be hosted virtually through the Career Center, I will put under spotlight job and events so that you have quick access to those different opportunities. We do have the Warner Hot Jobs function, which is unique to this website. So essentially what I've done is I've pulled all of those jobs, internships, and opportunities through Handshake that are most pertinent to our Warner students, indicating some of those different industry areas that I mentioned before, and what are some of the jobs within Handshake that might be most pertinent to you. So this is going to be a good place to check where some of those opportunities might be housed. And I believe this changes every 1 to 2 days. And so there's always new jobs circulating through the Warner Hot Jobs function. As you go through, this is, again, a little hub within the major website, if you will, that hosts different job sites and resources. Quick clicks for you in terms of a quick federal resume guide. So if you're wondering how to start a federal resume, I've created short videos where you can watch and learn what are some of the nuances between the two. Resume overview, navigating USA jobs, and then some past events that we had in the spring. For those jobs list by undergraduate major, by clicking here, you are taken to that list. So I had mentioned this earlier, a bunch of different job sites pertinent to major. And so if you go down, you will see fish, wildlife, and conservation biology. Again, a whole bunch of different job sites that might lead you to opportunities that interest you most. I did want to showcase quickly what the NRCC newsletter looks like. And so for the most recent NRCC newsletter, you would click here. And this is a quick snapshot of what the newsletter looks like. So again, as we go down, we have some quick links, some resources on or off campus that might be helpful for you moving forward, different training and events, different, again, resources for you, and then we get into different spotlight jobs that again send to me outside of Handshake. So as you go down and as jobs are sent to me, they will be sectioned off by closing dates. And so hopefully that will help you in understanding when a job is closing, will give you some clarity of identifying when you need to submit the application and process. And then those jobs that are open until filled. And so if you are interested in the NRCC newsletter, what I would recommend is going down to underneath this jobs and resources section, this box that reads, would you like to receive weekly job and internship postings? And by clicking here, you'll be taken to, there we go, this page where you can include your email address, your name, and then include a password. And then from there, you'll be added to the listserv and will be sent those emails every Friday. Again, updated jobs, internships, any opportunities that are sent to my email that I want to make sure to get to you all in some way, shape, or form. So one more tab I'm going to go over is this major to career tab. So I'll talk a little bit about this in the remainder of time that I have with you all. But if you go down, what I've created by major is a handout with these tabs to help keep it a quick snapshot, if you will, quick and easy to digest. But essentially, it is job titles, employers, and student organizations related to your specific major. So, what we do with our recent graduates is when they get ready to graduate, we give them the first destination survey. So essentially with that survey, we are trying to better understand where our graduates are going, whether it be a job, an internship, continuing education with grad school. We want to have that knowledge. And so what I did with this handout is I took all of that data that we've received and put it into a, again, digestible document for you all as you think about some of those careers that you could potentially look into as you get ready to graduate, or even jobs, right? Working up to a larger career. So if you click in, you'll be able to access the handout. Again, as I mentioned, we have our employers who hire our students. Typically, this list changes, ebbs and flows with different hiring strategies. Job titles, mid-level positions. So mid-level positions are those next level jobs if you have continued education for a master's or doctorate, or just have more experience. I will talk a little bit about the factors of success here in a moment, and we have a career checklist. And so if you are a checklist person like me, this will be hopefully so helpful as you move forward. So what you can be doing as a first year student, second year student, third year or transfer student, or a fourth year student? What are some of those strategies you could be taking as you move forward and think about your career journey and all the skills you want to gain and the experiences and how you can be doing that, again, strategically moving forward? Within that as well is professional associations. And so again, we'll talk about a little bit about in future professional associations and the importance of them. And I'll talk about why they're important and some of the quick avenues you have to getting more involved with those different organizations at a regional level versus a national level. All right, so now what? We navigated a few different sites and resources that might be helpful as you move forward. But I think it's important to think about strategically next steps as you move forward in terms of really looking at introspectively who you are. What are some of those job titles that might interest you moving forward? Where can you gain experience? And lastly, how else can you stay connected? How else can you get involved, whether that be academically, professionally, extracurricularly, all those bits and pieces. And so we'll talk a little bit about that. I did want to provide this piece of information. So like I mentioned, essentially what we do is when our graduates get ready to graduate, we send them a survey to better understand what they are doing post-graduation. And so from that, this is a number that popped up. 83% of 2017-2018 Warner graduates had plans secured up to 6 months post-graduation. Plans secured includes internship involvement, that includes a job, that includes continuing education. There's a whole lot that is encompassed under plan secured. And that's a really big number. And so I wanted to provide some different reasons why our students are doing so well. So our 4 factors of success, one being engagement with the CSU Career Center. And so that could be watching this recorded video. That could be a one-on-one advising appointment with me talking about your career journey and where you're at. That could be going to a virtual event or an event that you went to and passed on campus. Again, it's engaging with the Career Center in some way, shape, or form. Internship involvement. And so internship being that experiential learning component as it relates to your specific major or career industry of interest as you move forward. And so again, it's gaining skills on the job, right? It's connecting with your supervisor. It's learning and really taking what you are doing academically into an experiential learning piece, right? Really showcasing those skills. On campus employment, and I did want to include that virtual component because some of our campus employers are moving to virtual as we move forward into the fall. So, again, thinking about those transferable skills that you gain on campus in an employment type opportunity. That could be communication, that could be collaboration, that could be public speaking, right? All of those transferable skills and thinking strategically about how those will be showcased on your resume and supporting documents as you move forward. And last but not least, GPA. And so I attribute GPA to your academic involvedness, if you will. And so that is attending class, that could be connecting with faculty as it relates to their research and some of your interests. Again, it's being academically involved in those different situations. And so thinking about that as you're moving forward. So I did put these in steps. That is how my brain work. And these can all be done out of order. And so while I have them labeled step 1 through 4, please know that all of these different aspects of your career journey and thinking strategically about who you are and how you want to move forward can be done at different points. And so step 1, think about and reflect on your education. So your present and future. Present being, why did you choose your major? What about fish, wildlife, and conservation biology interested you most as you've been attending classes, as you've been thinking strategically about your career moving forward? Why this specific major? And then future with education. Thinking about, do you want to go to grad school? Are you entering into a field where you may need a higher level of a degree? And so just thinking through some of those different bits and pieces. What skills or experiences are you hoping to gain, right? And so in working with fish, wildlife, and conservation biology students, I often hear students come in and say, I just want to work with animals, which is great. And let's think strategically about how you can do that. And so with that, a skill or experience would be animal handling. So again, thinking through some of those skills that you want to gain. What is your career goal or career goals? And I know that's a really big question and it can be very intimidating, but it's good to think about, again, your major, what brought you there, and what you foresee yourself doing. That can very much change as you move forward. And so knowing that that's okay and just starting to think a little bit about what could that career goal be? What job titles interest you? And so as you look through, this is a perfect segue to step 2. These are some job titles that were pulled from First Destination. And so I reviewed with you that career handout that might be helpful. But this is what I see most often with our students as they move forward. I do want to say the wildlife biologist, fisheries biologist, and research ecologist I typically see with extended education and with some of those entry level opportunities, I will call them biological science technician, wildlife technician, fisheries. You can gain some of those experiences and better identify if becoming a biologist or ecologist is an interest of yours. You may be thinking, this is awesome. It's good to see some job titles, but how do I know exactly what those jobs consist of? And so one tip I'd like to give you is if you go to Google Jobs and type in, for example, wildlife technician jobs, you will see opportunities pop up starting in Fort Collins or wherever you're located and out. So from there, you'll be able to see announcements and better understand the qualifications, the responsibilities, and aspects of that job. And there's also within that job list that I sent out, there might be some opportunity through there to see what announcements are out there and what opportunities look like at a more in-depth level. So exploring again those job titles that might interest you as you move forward. And again, we can also have this conversation through a one-on-one advising appointment if you're looking at this list and thinking, I don't know if these are for me. That's okay. Let's have an honest conversation about what other opportunities are out there that might interest you and how your degree can relate to those opportunities. All right, step 3. I wanted to provide an opportunity for engagement with different organizations, if you will. And I will say this is thinking strategically about Fort Collins and out. And so again, if you are in a different location, I'd be happy to meet and talk about some different organizations that you can get involved with. But some that come to mind quickly, the Wolf Sanctuary, I've met with many students who have an interest in working at a zoo. And so the Denver Zoo has different volunteer opportunities, internship opportunities similar to the Wolf Sanctuary, the Wild Animal Sanctuary, the Greenwood Wildlife Rehabilitation Center if you want to work on rehabilitating wildlife. the Larimer County Humane Society, the Bellevue Watson Fish Hatchery. I've had a few students volunteer out there. And then I do know that Leadville is farther away, but again, if you wanted a weekend opportunity to gain some volunteer experiences, that could be a place where you start. So looking and seeing again what opportunities lie within these organizations. We also have a connection with our career center. And so if you have any questions about specific employers, please feel free to reach out. And last but not least, staying engaged academically and professionally. And so, one opportunity that's not often mentioned, I will say within fish wildlife conservation biology, it is mentioned more. I believe you have a program where mentorship is included in that, but seeking out faculty mentorship. For those of you who have an interest in research, I strongly believe that the best way to gain a research type opportunity is not just through job boards and looking through Handshake, but making connections with those faculty who you have connected with and who you have a similar interest in research wise. And so seeking out that mentorship, it could be staff as well. Maybe it's not just faculty. Joining a professional association. And so there are national associations out there that you can get more involved with. Many of these associations have job boards, which is good to know as you move forward. So the Wildlife Society, the American Fisheries Society, Society for Conservation Biology, and minorities in agriculture, natural resources, and related sciences, or manners. So all of these organizations have a CSU student organization regionally attached to them, which is awesome. So if you're wondering nationally, how do I get involved? That seems really big and really scary. I would start by getting involved at CSU and making those connections because national opportunity might come from those opportunities. And so, for example, with Manners, I co-advise Manners within the Warner College. And there is a national conference that we have every single year. And we look to take 12 to 15 students to engage in professional development opportunities, training, learning, connecting with researchers and faculty and staff in the field. And again, that starts with the regional connectedness to Manners or here at CSU. So a lot of great opportunities to make connections and kind of build your skill level and development and your resume as you move forward. And last but not least, get involved on or off campus and spend time volunteering to gain experience. And so what you'll find is with this major specifically, it is important to gain hands-on experience, if you will. So please know you're not alone in identifying some of those different opportunities. I'm here to help. And it's good to start thinking strategically about volunteering and about finding opportunities on or off campus where you can gain some of those different skills. So during our short time together, we talked about a lot of different things, some that might be more intimidating than others. And so I wanted to bring up some barriers and navigating those barriers as it's related to success. And so this is a Wordle that I created. And in the background, you'll see maybe some words that we attribute with success. So financial stability, purpose, leadership, could be promotion. Maybe in future you hope to move up the ladder, if you will, and get into a high level leadership type role. It could be achieving our goals, happiness, helping others, and maybe simply employment, being employed. And I also wanted to acknowledge some of the barriers that you may see come from what we view as success, right? As I'm talking about, for example, experiential learning opportunities, maybe you're thinking, well, what about transportation? How do I get to those different places? Do I have access to those opportunities? What if I don't belong in those organizations or as a volunteer? So maybe that imposter syndrome. Financial ability. Maybe you need to have a paid opportunity and you can't afford for it to be unpaid. Maybe it's lack of representation within the organization and not seeing individuals with similar identities as you. Maybe it's expectations or even familial expectations. And so I wanted to acknowledge this because it's important to do so, one, and two, you're not alone in all of these feelings. And so if you're wondering and all these questions are popping up as it relates to you and your career journey, please know that I'm a resource moving forward, that I'm happy to talk about all of these different things, all of what could be a barrier to lead you to success and helping you build connections with employers of potentially similar identities to you. right? Talking about time management, talking about skill development, talking about how to get you from point A to point B for a specific opportunity that might interest you. And so you're not alone in this, and I want to make sure that you know that as we move forward. So with that, that ends our time together. Please note again, we talked about a lot of different things, but if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out. My email is located here, and I'm also available by phone and by Teams or a Zoom call. And so with the virtual appointments, I'll of course ask you your preference, whether it be Zoom, Teams, by phone. I will be potentially, if anything changes, I'll let you know, but I might be on campus 1 or 2 days of the week. And so I'm figuring out the details of what this would look like, but I might be available for in-person, socially distanced conversation if you have any questions that you'd like to talk more in person. And so I will, of course, as we move forward and as we prepare for fall, I will make sure to get that information out to you. But again, I want to thank you for watching this video, for even engaging with me virtually. And again, if you have any questions, please let me know. I'm truly happy to help.